In today's Leeds news, Leeds United manager update, likely player exits, DeConde happy at Genk, Leeds lineup friendlies, and 49ers takeover latest. Morning, folks. Morning, folks. Share here at The View on Tuesday, the 6th of June with your Leeds United news. No video over the weekend as I decided to take the long weekend here in Ireland and take a break from Leeds for a couple of days. But we'll crack on. There's a lot of stuff happened last night, breaking, and into today. We will cover the 49ers stuff at the back end of this video. We will start off with the manager update. And according to Football Insider, West Brom are braced for a move from Leeds United for head coach Carlos Corberán. The article says that West Brom's financial situation is likely to take effect this summer, with them expecting to lose a lot of their top assets as well as their head coach. This comes on the back of Chief Executive Ron Gourlay resigning this week and the club being in a bit of a financial hole. The Mail have also added to this, and they claim that an appointment of the new manager of Leeds United will happen after a takeover is announced by 49ers Enterprises. But they've labelled Corberán as a standout candidate for Leeds United with his job that he did at Huddersfield, which was taking them into a playoff final, but they narrowly lost. He left. They nearly got relegated the following season. And then taking West Brom from the bottom four in the Championship to missing out on the playoffs on the final day of the season. Corberán did a fantastic job at the Leeds United under-23 team as well before it became the under-21s. His high fitness level stuff is claimed to be one of the main reasons with Leeds, and Luke Ayling this year commenting on the fact that they ran out of legs and Leeds just didn't look as fit a side this year as they had done in previous seasons. Football Insider also claiming that Jon Dahl Tomasson is still very high on the list as well. They say that Leeds admire his playing style, and he did a fantastic job at Malmo as well as a really good job last season at Blackburn, being in the playoffs for most of the season last year before just missing out at the end. His style of play is also described as very similar to Bielsa's style. He plays a high-tempo 4-2-3-1 system, and has made a strong impression on the Leeds board, who will have him as well as Steven Gerrard, Carlos Corberán, Brendan Rodgers, and Graham Potter still on their list as well. Steven Gerrard is being mentioned slightly less outside of TalkSport, who, it's TalkSport, so they'll want Gerrard and Lampard in a job in any club. Other names seem to be starting to filter away. Rodgers could go back to Celtic. He may end up taking a year out from football, has also been claimed today as well, with Ange Postecoglou being named as a new Spurs manager. That kind of limits his move, which was likely Spurs. So he could go back to Celtic. It's been rumoured this morning. However, Celtic fans wouldn't react quite well to that after how he left the club. So it'll be an interesting one to see. But Carlos Corberán is looking currently like one of the standout candidates and could be favoured for the job. Moving on, let's talk about players that are possibly exiting Leeds. And according to Gazzetta dello Sport in Italy, Juventus want Willy Nandez as one of their prime signings this summer. However, it is also claimed that Juve will need to sell some players in order to bring in players and balance the books. They've had a 10-point deduction recently as well. This season, they missed out on Champions League football as a result. They are looking at selling Chiesa to either Liverpool or Bayern Munich, and that fee could bring in anything between 60 to 89 million pounds. And Gnonto is seen as the replacement for him. He's described in Italy as a gem in the crown, and the Leeds are expecting moves from top Italian clubs for Gnonto this summer. Tyler Adams is also a player that has garnered a huge amount of interest from around the world at the moment, and Footballer Insider claimed that Leeds could sanction a season-long loan for Tyler Adams. And this is an interesting one because Max from Leeds lately mentioned something like this on our live stream last week with Ollie Ward. It's over on Ollie Ward's channel. It's linked up here as well. Where Max said Leeds could loan players out upwards instead of downwards, which we all assume, in order to get them off the books but keep them attached to Leeds should Leeds get back into the Premier League next season. And it's starting to look like that might actually be a policy for Leeds. Football Insider say that while they know Leeds will find Tyler Adams hard to keep at the club, they may look to sanction a move away from Leeds on loan. It says that his relegation release clause is somewhere in the region of £30 million, and Leeds are in a position where they do not need to sell. However, there is interest from Bundesliga's clubs as well as Premier League clubs, and a well-placed source claims that Leeds could look to loan him out in order to keep him connected to the club should they get an immediate return back to the Premier League. Brendan Aronson is another player who has been added to that list of players that Leeds could look to loan out in order to keep on the books at Leeds and then bring back next season. Personally, I think Brendan Aronson would do better staying at Leeds for a season in the Championship and dealing with that getting him ready again to maybe have a better crack at the Premier League, a more physical season, might actually help the player. Luis Sinisterra is another player on this, and according to reports in Spain from El Deportivo, they claim that Leeds would be willing to sanction a loan move of Luis Sinisterra away from Leeds to Bundesliga side Bayer Leverkusen, who are very interested in the player. They say that Leeds will look to get the 70,000 a week player off the books, but keep him connected again to Leeds in order to return to Leeds should Leeds get an immediate return to the Premier League. These players are all international players. It's expected Leeds will lose the bulk of the international players. This could be a way of bringing them, keeping them at Leeds, but also giving them what they want in terms of playing high level football for their international sides. Other players that are likely to leave Leeds, Mark Roca. Again, last week, a week before, we talked about the fact that Real Betis are lining up Roca as a potential move. Well, according to Fichias in Spain, Roca is now a target of Barcelona as a replacement for Sergio Busquets. The report claims that Barcelona see Roca as a cheaper option, with Busquets as well as other players being moved off of Barcelona's books, as Barcelona need to free up £200 million this summer to balance the books again. They're now looking at taking higher earning contracts off the books and replacing them with cheaper ones again. And Roca is seen as a perfect, cheaper option for Sergio Busquets. Let's talk briefly about the director of football role. And according to reports in Belgium from Voetbal Krant, they claimed that reports from Genk said that Dimitri DeConde's move to Leeds is now looking very unlikely. It claims that DeConde has said he is happy where he is at Genk. Genk finished in third position in the Belgian League last year, but did qualify for the Champions League qualifying round. And the director of football has said that the success that they're having there is enough to keep him happy and keep him at the club. So it looks like DeConde may be off the list for Leeds for now. Anyway, looking at the preseason stuff, and according to the Herald, Leeds are looking at lining up a preseason friendly with Glasgow Rangers. Leeds currently have only announced one preseason friendly on July 12th against Manchester United in Norway, and will look to try and get a couple more friendlies lined up as we move on through the off season. It's probably important that Leeds get these things lined up, and they're now looking at potential friendly with Glasgow Rangers for the summer. Let's move on and talk about the main story today, which is, as everyone knows, the takeover of Leeds United by the San Francisco 49ers. And according to the Daily Mail last night, Monday, the 49ers are moving and edging closer to a takeover of Leeds United. The report claims that productive talks happened on Monday and a resolution could be reached early this week. It also goes on to say that Radrizzani is under huge pressure from Leeds United fans to sell up after it emerged last week that he thought about using Elland Road as a security or collateral to buy Sampdoria. And the fee for the club is now rumoured to be anything between £170 million and £210 million, as both sides look to trash out a deal this week to get it done. His purchase of Sampdoria is said to be a significant step in his move away from Leeds and sale to 49ers Enterprises. And an article also goes on to claim that the director of football and manager situations will be announced once the deal is done and the takeover is announced. There are a lot of people claiming that the deal is already done. There's also some claims that there are embargoes in place on some local journalists as well. Take that with a huge pinch of salt, and that there could be announcements early this week. There was people claiming that reports or announcements could happen today. It's looking unlikely today, but could happen. If it does happen, we'll come back on. We'll do a live stream and we'll get you up to date on that as quick as we can. But looks like it's edging closer and closer again. It's pretty quiet from the 49ers side. And there's not been a huge amount of reaction from Radrizzani on the back of what happened last week. So everything very, very quiet at Leeds. You would hope that quiet means everyone's busy doing stuff and getting ready. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting one. There's a huge amount of work that needs to be done at Leeds. And Angus Kinnear said to be lining up everything and interviewing managers and director of football and getting that all ready and running the club while this goes on. He's expected, also Kinnear is expected to stay at Leeds when the 49ers do take control of the club. So there's that as well. So that's going to be it for today, folks. Thank you very much, as always, for watching the channel, supporting the channel. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more updates. Should anything happen between now and tomorrow morning, we will go live and give you the updates on what's going on as and when we hear it. Have a great day. Enjoy the sun, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. See you then. Bye.